2008, the Asia Young Designer Awards, or AYDA, is part of Nippon Paint's commitment to helping nurture the next generation of architectural and interior design talents. The program aims to help designers of the future develop both technical skills and empathic design capacity through cross-learning and networking opportunities with key industry players. 2008, the AYDA Young Designer Awards, or AYDA, exposure from the AYDA program enables participants to gain practical industry knowledge, experience, and interior design coaching, mentoring. The program aims to help designers of the future develop both technical skills and empathic design capacity, thus further establishing AYDA as a unique platform for designers of the future. 2008, the AYDA Young Designer Awards, or AYDA, exposure from the AYDA program enables participants to gain practical industry knowledge, experience, Asia's largest and longest-running award. The program aims to help designers of the future develop both technical skills, reaching out to more than 1,000 international educational institutions and networking opportunities, and more than 100 industry leaders of the future across AYDA. With the help of our partners, industry association, part of AYDA program, 13 enables participants to gain practical industry knowledge, as well as more than longest-running mentoring. The program aims to help designers of the future develop both technical skills, reaching out to more than 1,000 international educational institutions and networking opportunities, and more than 100 industry leaders of the future across AYDA. With the help of our partners, industry association, part of AYDA program, 13 enables participants.
This beautiful rain tree right here was a source of inspiration for the school's name, and is one of 2 such classes on the premise. The formerly abandoned warehouses have been refurbished into a creative hub. The 50-story Cocoon Tower is an iconic site in Tokyo's Shinjuku district.
There are so many good architects in the world. Everybody is very talented. So how do you differentiate yourself? With your passion and also with your storytelling.
很多以前我们总以为把东西做得美美的就好，他发现其实不是，你要看到面对事情的真实那一面，然后去研究人跟空间的关系，这个是后来我们慢慢从工作过程中发现，去找到好问题这很重要。
My generation would come and go, but then their generations are also the ones who could come and turn the tide, because to me we're at the stage where architecture needs to be a lot more sustainable than maybe decades before.
For over 130 years, our culture of innovation has shaped the lives of millions. Building better, brighter, and happier lives, full of color and opportunities. It all stems from breakthrough research, meticulously developed by leading scientists and chemists at our world-leading facilities. We're all part of a diverse family who, together, make Nippon Paint Asia's #1 paint and coatings manufacturer, offering a complete paint and coating solution for total peace of mind. We're a Pan-Asian family unified and driven by our lean for growth culture of vigilance, insatiable appetite, teamwork, agility, leanness, stamina, allowing us to lead from the front of the pack. Corporate responsibility is ingrained in our DNA, promoting sustainability and developing skills, because people have always been at the heart of our company. Together, we strive for a sustainable business that positively impacts lives. Our ingenuity flows through every drop of the billion liters of paint and coatings we produce every year, adding color to all the industries we supply through strong distribution, and in turn enriched the lives of millions around the world. We continue to set new standards in coatings for motor vehicles, Our protective coatings sustain and enhance the performance of bridges, ships, fuel pipes, and chemical tanks. By offering developers and architects a variety of highly durable and weather-resistant options, we make it possible to realize their ambitions. And for our consumers, we strive to deliver the best end-to-end solutions, including design services to perfectly complement our products. We are Nippon Paint. We harness the brilliance of innovation. We inspire the lives of millions now and for decades to come.
First introduced in 2008, the Asia Young Designer Awards or AYDA is part of Nippon Paint's commitment to helping nurture the next generation of architectural and interior design talents. The program aims to help designers of the future develop both technical skills and empathic design capacity through cross-learning and networking opportunities with key industry players. AYDA is more than just a competition platform. Exposure from the AYDA program enables participants to gain practical industry knowledge experience through intensive coaching, mentoring, and skill-building sessions by experienced educators and industry leaders, thus further establishing AYDA as a unique platform for designers of the future. "13 years in the making, AYDA has grown to be one of Asia's largest and longest-running award across 15 geographical locations, reaching out to more than 1,000 international educational institutions and more than 150,000 students across Asia. With the help of our partners, industry associations and stakeholders, AYDA has received more than 35,000 entries since its conception.
Take a trip with Destination Design, where top architects and interior designers bring you on an exclusive tour of iconic landmarks around Asia.
This beautiful rain tree right here was a source of inspiration for the school's name and is one of 2 such classes on the premise. The formerly abandoned warehouses have been refurbished into a creative hub. The 50-story Cocoon Tower is an iconic site in Tokyo's Shinjuku district.
There are so many good architects in the world. Everybody is very talented. So how do you differentiate yourself? With your passion and also with your storytelling.
很多以前我们总以为把东西做得美美的就好，他发现其实不是，要看到面对事情的真实那一面，然后去研究人跟空间的关系，这个是后来我们慢慢从工作过程中发现，去找到好问题是很重要。
My generation would come and go, but then their generations are also the ones who could come and turn the tides. Because to me, we're at the stage where architecture needs to be a lot more sustainable than maybe decades before.
For over 130 years, our culture of innovation has shaped the lives of millions. Building better, brighter, and happier lives, full of color and opportunities. It all stems from breakthrough research, meticulously developed by leading scientists and chemists at our world-leading facilities. We're all part of a diverse family who, together, make Nippon Paint Asia's #1 paint and coatings manufacturer, offering a complete paint and coating solution for total peace of mind. We're a Pan-Asian family unified and driven by our lean for growth culture of vigilance, insatiable appetite, teamwork, agility, leanness, stamina, allowing us to lead from the front of the pack. Corporate responsibility is ingrained in our DNA. promoting sustainability and developing skills. Because people have always been at the heart of our company. Together, we strive for a sustainable business that positively impacts lives. Our ingenuity flows through every drop of the billion liters of paint and coatings we produce every year, adding color to all the industries we supply through strong distribution, and in turn enriched the lives of millions around the world. We continue to set new standards in coatings for motor vehicles. Our protective coatings sustain and enhance the performance of bridges, ships, fuel pipes, and chemical tanks. By offering developers and architects a variety of highly durable and weather-resistant options, we make it possible to realize their ambitions. And for our consumers, we strive to deliver the best end-to-end solutions, including design services to perfectly complement our products. We are Nippon Paint. We harness the brilliance of innovation. We inspire the lives of millions now and for decades to come.
First introduced in 2008, the Asia Young Designer Awards, or AYDA, is part of Nippon Paint's commitment to helping nurture the next generation of architectural and interior design talents. The program aims to help designers of the future develop both technical skills and empathic design capacity through cross-learning and networking opportunities with key industry players. AYDA is more than just a competition platform. Exposure from the AYDA program enables participants to gain practical industry knowledge experience through intensive coaching, mentoring, and skill-building sessions by experienced educators and industry leaders, thus further establishing AYDA as a unique platform for designers of the future. "13 years in the making, AYDA has grown to be one of Asia's largest and longest-running award across 15 geographical locations, reaching out to more than 1,000 international educational institutions and more than 150,000 students across Asia. With the help of our partners, industry associations, and stakeholders, AYDA has received more than 35,000 entries since its conception.
Take a trip with Destination Design, where top architects and interior designers bring you on an exclusive tour of iconic landmarks around Asia.
This beautiful rain tree right here was a source of inspiration for the school's name and is one of 2 such clusters on the premise. The formerly abandoned warehouses have been refurbished into a creative hub. The 50-story Cocoon Tower is an iconic site in Tokyo's Shinjuku district.
There are so many good architects in the world. Everybody is very talented. So how do you differentiate yourself? With your passion and also with your storytelling.
很多以前我们总以为把东西做得美美的就好，他发现其实不是。你要看到面对事情的真实那一面，然后去研究人跟空间的关系，这个是后来我们慢慢从工作过程中发现，去找到好问题是很重要。
My generation would come and go, but then their generations are also the ones who could come and turn the tides. Because to me, we're at the stage where architecture needs to be a lot more sustainable than maybe decades before.
For over 130 years, our culture of innovation has shaped the lives of millions. Building better, brighter, and happier lives full of color and opportunities. It all stems from breakthrough research meticulously developed by leading scientists and chemists at our world-leading facilities. We're all part of a diverse family who, together, make Nippon Paint Asia's #1 paint and coatings manufacturer, offering a complete paint and coating solution for total peace of mind. We're a Pan-Asian family unified and driven by our lean for growth culture of vigilance, insatiable appetite, teamwork, agility, leanness, stamina, allowing us to lead from the front of the pack. Corporate responsibility is ingrained in our DNA, promoting sustainability and developing skills, because people have always been at the heart of our company. Together, we strive for a sustainable business that positively impacts lives. Our ingenuity flows through every drop of the billion liters of paint and coatings we produce every year, adding color to all the industries we supply through strong distribution, and in turn enriched the lives of millions around the world. We continue to set new standards in coatings for motor vehicles. Our protective coatings sustain and enhance the performance of bridges, ships, fuel pipes, and chemical tanks. By offering developers and architects a variety of highly durable and weather-resistant options, we make it possible to realize their ambitions. And for our consumers, we strive to deliver the best end-to-end solutions, including design services to perfectly complement our products. We are Nippon Paint. We harness the brilliance of innovation. We inspire the lives of millions now and for decades to come.
First introduced in 2008, the Asia Young Designer Awards, or AYDA, is part of Nippon Paint's commitment to helping nurture the next generation of architectural and interior design talents. The program aims to help designers of the future develop both technical skills and empathic design capacity through cross-learning and networking opportunities with key industry players. AYDA is more than just a competition platform. Exposure from the AYDA program enables participants to gain practical industry knowledge experience through intensive coaching, mentoring, and skill-building sessions by experienced educators and industry leaders, thus further establishing AYDA as a unique platform for designers of the future. "13 years in the making, AYDA has grown to be one of Asia's largest and longest-running award across 15 geographical locations, reaching out to more than 1,000 international educational institutions and more than 150,000 students across Asia. With the help of our partners, industry associations, and stakeholders, AYDA has received more than 35,000 entries since its conception.
Take a trip with Destination Design, where top architects and interior designers bring you on an exclusive tour of iconic landmarks around Asia.
This beautiful rain tree right here was a source of inspiration for the school's name and is one of 2 such plasters on the premise. The formerly abandoned warehouses have been refurbished into a creative hub. The 50-story Cocoon Tower is an iconic site in Tokyo's Shinjuku district.
There are so many good architects in the world. Everybody is very talented. So how do you differentiate yourself? With your passion and also with your storytelling.
很多以前我们总以为把东西做得美美的就好，会发现其实不是。你要看到面对事情的真实那一面，然后去研究人跟空间的关系，这个是后来我们慢慢从工作过程中发现，去找到好问题是很重要。
My generation would come and go, but then their generations are also the ones who could come and turn the tides. Because to me, we're at the stage where architecture needs to be a lot more sustainable than maybe decades before.
For over 130 years, our culture of innovation has shaped the lives of millions. Building better, brighter, and happier lives, full of color and opportunities. It all stems from breakthrough research meticulously developed by leading scientists and chemists at our world-leading facilities. We're all part of a diverse family who, together, make Nippon Paint Asia's #1 paint and coatings manufacturer, offering a complete paint and coating solution for total peace of mind. We're a Pan-Asian family unified and driven by our lean for growth culture of vigilance, insatiable appetite, teamwork, agility, leanness, stamina, allowing us to lead from the front of the pack. Corporate responsibility is ingrained in our DNA, promoting sustainability and developing skills, because people have always been at the heart of our company. Together, we strive for a sustainable business that positively impacts lives. Our ingenuity flows through every drop of the billion liters of paint and coatings we produce every year, adding color to all the industries we supply through strong distribution, and in turn enriched the lives of millions around the world. We continue to set new standards in coatings for motor vehicles. Our protective coatings sustain and enhance the performance of bridges, ships, fuel pipes, and chemical tanks. By offering developers and architects a variety of highly durable and weather-resistant options, we make it possible to realize their ambitions. And for our consumers, we strive to deliver the best end-to-end solutions, including design services to perfectly complement our products. We are Nippon Paint. We harness the brilliance of innovation. We inspire the lives of millions now and for decades to come.
First introduced in 2008, the Asia Young Designer Awards, or AYDA, is part of Nippon Paint's commitment to helping nurture the next generation of architectural and interior design talents. The program aims to help designers of the future develop both technical skills and empathic design capacity through cross-learning and networking opportunities with key industry players. AYDA is more than just a competition platform. Exposure from the AYDA program enables participants to gain practical industry knowledge experience through intensive coaching, mentoring, and skill-building sessions by experienced educators and industry leaders, thus further establishing AYDA as a unique platform for designers of the future. "13 years in the making, AYDA has grown to be one of Asia's largest and longest-running award across 15 geographical locations, reaching out to more than 1,000 international educational institutions and more than 150,000 students across Asia. With the help of our partners, industry associations, and stakeholders, AYDA has received more than 35,000 entries since its conception.
Take a trip with Destination Design, where top architects and interior designers bring you on an exclusive tour of iconic landmarks around Asia.
This beautiful rain tree right here was a source of inspiration for the school's name and is one of 2 such classes on the premise. The formerly abandoned warehouses have been refurbished into a creative hub. The 50-story Cocoon Tower is an iconic site in Tokyo's Shinjuku district.
There are so many good architects in the world. Everybody is very talented. So how do you differentiate yourself? With your passion and also with your storytelling.
很多以前我们总以为把东西做得美美的就好，会发现其实不是。你要看到面对事情的真实那一面，然后去研究人跟空间的关系，这个是后来我们慢慢从工作过程中发现，去找到好问题是很重要。
My generation would come and go, but then their generations are also the ones who could come and turn the tides. Because to me, we're at the stage where architecture needs to be a lot more sustainable than maybe decades before.
For over 130 years, our culture of innovation has shaped the lives of millions. Building better, brighter, and happier lives, full of color and opportunities. It all stems from breakthrough research, meticulously developed by leading scientists and chemists at our world-leading facilities. We're all part of a diverse family who, together, make Nippon Paint Asia's #1 paint and coatings manufacturer, offering a complete paint and coating solution for total peace of mind. We're a Pan-Asian family unified and driven by our lean for growth culture of vigilance, insatiable appetite, teamwork, agility, leanness, stamina, allowing us to lead from the front of the pack. Corporate responsibility is ingrained in our DNA, promoting sustainability and developing skills, because people have always been at the heart of our company. Together, we strive for a sustainable business that positively impacts lives. Our ingenuity flows through every drop of the billion liters of paint and coatings we produce every year, adding color to all the industries we supply through strong distribution, and in turn enriched the lives of millions around the world. We continue to set new standards in coatings for motor vehicles. Our protective coatings sustain and enhance the performance of bridges, ships, fuel pipes, and chemical tanks. By offering developers and architects a variety of highly durable and weather-resistant options, we make it possible to realize their ambitions. And for our consumers, we strive to deliver the best end-to-end solutions, including design services to perfectly complement our products. We are Nippon Paint. We harness the brilliance of innovation. We inspire the lives of millions now and for decades to come.
First introduced in 2008, the Asia Young Designer Awards, or AYDA, is part of Nippon Paint's commitment to helping nurture the next generation of architectural and interior design talents. The program aims to help designers of the future develop both technical skills and empathic design capacity through cross-learning and networking opportunities with key industry players. AYDA is more than just a competition platform. Exposure from the AYDA program enables participants to gain practical industry knowledge experience through intensive coaching, mentoring, and skill-building sessions by experienced educators and industry leaders, thus further establishing AYDA as a unique platform for designers of the future. "13 years in the making, AYDA has grown to be one of Asia's largest and longest-running award across 15 geographical locations. reaching out to more than 1,000 international educational institutions and more than 150,000 students across Asia. With the help of our partners, industry associations and stakeholders, AYDA has received more than 35,000 entries since its conception.
Take a trip with Destination Design, where top architects and interior designers bring you on an exclusive tour of iconic landmarks around Asia.
This beautiful rain tree right here was a source of inspiration for the school's name and is one of 2 such clusters on the premise. The formerly abandoned warehouses have been refurbished into a creative hub. The 50-story Cocoon Tower is an iconic site in Tokyo's Shinjuku district.
There are so many good architects in the world. Everybody is very talented. So how do you differentiate yourself? With your passion and also with your storytelling.
很多以前我们总以为把东西做得美美的就好，会发现其实不是。要看到面对事情的真实那一面，然后去研究人跟空间的关系，这个是后来我们慢慢从工作过程中发现，去找到好问题，这很重要。
My generation would come and go, but then their generations are also the ones who could come and turn the tides. Because to me, we're at the stage where architecture needs to be a lot more sustainable than maybe decades before.
For over 130 years, our culture of innovation has shaped the lives of millions. Building better, brighter, and happier lives, full of color and opportunities. It all stems from breakthrough research, meticulously developed by leading scientists and chemists at our world-leading facilities. We're all part of a diverse family who, together, make Nippon Paint Asia's #1 paint and coatings manufacturer, offering a complete paint and coating solution for total peace of mind. We're a Pan-Asian family unified and driven by our lean for growth culture of vigilance, insatiable appetite, teamwork, agility, lean stamina, allowing us to lead from the front of the pack. Corporate responsibility is ingrained in our DNA, promoting sustainability and developing skills, because people have always been at the heart of our company. Together, we strive for a sustainable business that positively impacts lives. Our ingenuity flows through every drop of the billion liters of paint and coatings we produce every year, adding color to all the industries we supply through strong distribution, and in turn enriched the lives of millions around the world. We continue to set new standards in coatings for motor vehicles. Our protective coatings sustain and enhance the performance of bridges, ships, fuel pipes, and chemical tanks. By offering developers and architects a variety of highly durable and weather-resistant options, we make it possible to realize their ambitions. And for our consumers, we strive to deliver the best end-to-end solutions, including design services to perfectly complement our products. We are Nippon Paint. We harness the brilliance of innovation. We inspire the lives of millions now and for decades to come.
First introduced in 2008, the Asia Young Designer Awards, or AYDA, is part of Nippon Paint's commitment to helping nurture the next generation of architectural and interior design talents. The program aims to help designers of the future develop both technical skills and empathic design capacity through cross-learning and networking opportunities with key industry players. AYDA is more than just a competition platform. Exposure from the AYDA program enables participants to gain practical industry knowledge experience through intensive coaching, mentoring, and skill-building sessions by experienced educators and industry leaders, thus further establishing AYDA as a unique platform for designers of the future. "13 years in the making, AYDA has grown to be one of Asia's largest and longest-running award across 15 geographical locations, reaching out to more than 1,000 international educational institutions and more than 150,000 students across Asia. With the help of our partners, industry associations and stakeholders, AYDA has received more than 35,000 entries since its conception.
Take a trip with Destination Design, where top architects and interior designers bring you on an exclusive tour of iconic landmarks around Asia.
This beautiful rain tree right here was a source of inspiration for the school's name and is one of 2 such classes on the premise. The formerly abandoned warehouses have been refurbished into a creative hub. The 50-story Cocoon Tower is an iconic site in Tokyo's Shinjuku district.
There are so many good architects in the world. Everybody is very talented. So how do you differentiate yourself? With your passion and also with your storytelling.
很多以前我们总以为把东西做得美美的就好，他发现其实不是，要看到面对事情的真实那一面，然后去研究人跟空间的关系，这个是后来我们慢慢从工作过程中发现，去找到好问题是很重要。
My generation would come and go, but then their generations are also the ones who could come and turn the tides. Because to me, we're at the stage where architecture needs to be a lot more sustainable than maybe decades before.
For over 130 years, our culture of innovation has shaped the lives of millions. Building better, brighter, and happier lives, full of color and opportunities. It all stems from breakthrough research, meticulously developed by leading scientists and chemists at our world-leading facilities. We're all part of a diverse family who, together, make Nippon Paint Asia's #1 paint and coatings manufacturer, offering a complete paint and coating solution for total peace of mind. We're a Pan-Asian family unified and driven by our lean for growth culture of vigilance, insatiable appetite, teamwork, agility, leanness, stamina, allowing us to lead from the front of the pack. Corporate responsibility is ingrained in our DNA, promoting sustainability and developing skills, because people have always been at the heart of our company. Together, we strive for a sustainable business that positively impacts lives. Our ingenuity flows through every drop of the billion liters of paint and coatings we produce every year, adding color to all the industries we supply through strong distribution, and in turn enriched the lives of millions around the world. We continue to set new standards in coatings for motor vehicles. Our protective coatings sustain and enhance the performance of bridges, ships, fuel pipes, and chemical tanks. By offering developers and architects a variety of highly durable and weather-resistant options, we make it possible to realize their ambitions. And for our consumers, we strive to deliver the best end-to-end solutions, including design services to perfectly complement our products. We are Nippon Paint, we harness the brilliance of innovation. We inspire the lives of millions now and for decades to come.
First introduced in 2008, the Asia Young Designer Awards, or AYDA, is part of Nippon Paint's commitment to helping nurture the next generation of architectural and interior design talents. The program aims to help designers of the future develop both technical skills and empathic design capacity through cross-learning and networking opportunities with key industry players. AYDA is more than just a competition platform. Exposure from the AYDA program enables participants to gain practical industry knowledge experience through intensive coaching, mentoring, and skill-building sessions by experienced educators and industry leaders, thus further establishing AYDA as a unique platform for designers of the future. "13 years in the making, AYDA has grown to be one of Asia's largest and longest-running award across 15 geographical locations, reaching out to more than 1,000 international educational institutions and more than 150,000 students across Asia. With the help of our partners, industry associations, and stakeholders, AYDA has received more than 35,000 entries since its conception.
Take a trip with Destination Design, where top architects and interior designers bring you on an exclusive tour of iconic landmarks around Asia.
This beautiful rain tree right here was a source of inspiration for the school's name and is one of 2 such clusters on the premise. The formerly abandoned warehouses have been refurbished into a creative hub. The 50-story Cocoon Tower is an iconic site in Tokyo's Shinjuku district.
There are so many good architects in the world. Everybody is very talented. So how do you differentiate yourself? With your passion and also with your storytelling.
很多以前我们总以为把东西做得美美的就好，会发现其实不是。要看到面对事情的真实那一面，然后去研究人跟空间的关系，这个是后来我们慢慢从工作过程中发现，去找到好问题是很重要。
My generation would come and go, but then their generations are also the ones who could come and turn the tide. Because to me, we're at the stage where architecture needs to be a lot more sustainable than maybe decades before.
First introduced in 2008, the Asia Young Designer Awards, or AYDA, is part of Nippon Paint's commitment to helping nurture the next generation of architectural and interior design talents. The program aims to help designers of the future develop both technical skills and empathic design capacity through cross-learning and networking opportunities with key industry players. AYDA is more than just a competition platform. Exposure from the AYDA program enables participants to gain practical industry knowledge experience through intensive coaching, mentoring, and skill-building sessions by experienced educators and industry leaders, thus further establishing AYDA as a unique platform for designers of the future. "13 years in the making, AYDA has grown to be one of Asia's largest and longest-running award across 15 geographical locations, reaching out to more than 1,000 international educational institutions and more than 150,000 students across Asia. With the help of our partners, industry associations, and stakeholders, AYDA has received more than 35,000 entries since its conception.
Take a trip with Destination Design, where top architects and interior designers bring you on an exclusive tour of iconic landmarks around Asia.
This beautiful rain tree right here was a source of inspiration for the school's name and is one of 2 such clusters on the premise. The formerly abandoned warehouses have been refurbished into a creative hub. The 50-story Cocoon Tower is an iconic site in Tokyo's Shinjuku district.
There are so many good architects in the world. Everybody is very talented. So how do you differentiate yourself? With your passion and also with your storytelling.
很多以前我们总以为把东西做得美美的就好，他发现其实不是，要看到面对事情的真实那一面，然后去研究人跟空间的关系，这个是后来我们慢慢从工作过程中发现，去找到好问题是很重要。
My generation would come and go, but then their generations are also the ones who could come and turn the tides. Because to me, we're at the stage where architecture needs to be a lot more sustainable than maybe decades before.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is Brandon. I'm part of the organizing committee at Asia Young Designer Awards. On behalf of Nippon Paint and AYDA, I would like to extend our warmest welcome to all of you and welcome to our very first international AYDA exchange. It is the first time that we're doing this internationally due to the pandemic the restrictions worldwide, and I hope everyone is safe. I hope everyone's well. But before we start, just a quick explanation how this is going to work. It's going to be like a conversation. We have 3 amazing speakers, which I will introduce in a bit. But for now, I do have, throughout the session, we have some polls for you to engage with us. So we'll be asking you questions. The first one is, I would like to know if everyone here, are you currently a professional, a student, a lecturer, or a bit of everything? Now, without further ado, I would love to introduce our 3 amazing speakers. First off is architect Jabeen Zacharias. She is the 17th National President of the Institute of Indian Interior Designers. She is a multidisciplinary artist and a passionate designer with a lot of experience. She is also our incoming panel advisor for 2020-2021. Architect Jabeen, maybe you can switch on your video. We can all see your awesome, beautiful face. Next, we have Mr. Lai, the founder of award-winning Blue Water Studio. He and his team have won many awards, and today we get to learn from him how he embeds human-centeredness into his design up close. He is also a long-service judge at AYDA. And last but not least, Mr. Michael Pizarro. He's best known as a life coach at LEAP and also the founder of Michael Pizarro Interior Design. He's our outgoing panel advisor and is working closely with our team in the Philippines to coach other mentors and participants. Now, as we go, we will, like I said, we will throw out different polls at you. So we will be having a conversation with our speakers and our panels. We'll be having basically a conversation, right? So I'm going to start off with what is empathic design, right, everyone, especially young designers, those who are working in the industry or those who are teaching in the university. We always wonder, what is it like to be an empathic designer? Is empathy by nature or empathy by nurture? So I think personally, it's about understanding our core as human beings and how we can resonate with the needs of others through our design. I could be wrong. I could be right. I don't know yet. I'm hoping to learn from our speakers and their journey. How did they become the icon they are today? And how did these 3 amazing speakers strike the balance between being commercially available and still have that human touch in creating positive impact through their design for the community? So let's start off with today's session. Let's start, okay, today's flow is going like this. We're going to start with our lady, architect Jabeen will be the first responder, followed by Mr. Lai and Mr. Michael Pizarro adding on. So my first question to you guys is, at which point of your design career that the empathic calling came to you? Architect Jabeen, would you like to share?
Yes. Good afternoon, all of you. It's wonderful to be here and addressing. To answer that question, let me tell you, when I took up architecture as a student, I didn't know what architecture really was. In college, I thought architecture is about buildings and stunning perspectives. And I always wanted to be a topper and wanted to make a difference. So it's all fantasy world. And even for my thesis project, I chose an indoor stadium of 35,000 capacity in those days. And then I designed this fantastic building standing on a single pillar, a tensile structure like a skirt billowing in the wind. I thought I was like Kenzo Tange, yeah, all big. And then when I came out of the college, that was my first appointment with reality. Outside, the world is different. It is not about fantasy, but it is about addressing needs of normal, mundane people. And to rub it in, the first job I landed up was as a government architect in Greater Cochin Development Authority. Government, my God, that is like death sentence for creative architects because what they do is housing projects. And for whom? Not even clients or people. We call them the masses. High income group, low income group, middle income group, and the economically weaker section. And here I was, thinking that I was really, really ready to go and do big projects, looking at a 600 square feet of a boxed house wherein a four-member family would be living, and thousands of such families are being promised a housing project at Cochin. I couldn't believe it. That house didn't have anything which I learned as an architect. So I took up a case. I went into that chief architect's office and said, "Sir, what is this? It's so pathetic. We are architects. We have to do something." So he was a wise man. He asked, "Yes, Jabeen, what would you like to do?" So we can bring in some real essence of space. Let's have some curved wall here. But then how will you hook it into the next building, Miss Jabeen? Okay, forget it. A slope roof? Hello, then how can we let them think of an additional story in future? So this toilet is too small. Can we just increase it by 1 foot? It's not that. If you increase that 1 foot, it is not the space only which is going to cost you, but that extra length of sewage line, the extra length of plumbing line, and that when multiplied into 1,000 houses, we will be overshooting the budget. And then instead of 1,000, maybe we will be able to give that houses only to 950. Jabeen, architecture is for people who really want a roof above one's head. So if you can improve anything within the 600 square feet, let us have it. I was in a shock. And then that was my first appointment with reality and my first close encounter with empathy, because I then put myself into the shoes of those people whom I don't even meet any day. I become the man of the house, the lady of the house, the kid of the house. And then when I move into that spaces and imagine their lives evolving around it, I find that a shift in the window position, a little left by half a foot, can give the space for a shelf. A door, if it is placed at some other way, it can house a bed. So actually, when you design a rich man's house, the margin of error is there. But when you are dealing with people who really kind of struggle to make ends meet, every square feet, every square inch counts. So empathy is to put yourself in those shoes, and architecture is organizing space for human needs, and it is for everybody. Design is the birthright for everybody, and we as designers will have to step into those shoes and do our best. So that particular job in Greater Cochin Development Authority, Brandon, I should say, was my enlightenment with empathy.
Thank you so much. I think it's so amazing you mentioned how you have never even met them, but you have to design for them. So putting yourself into their shoes are very important. Thank you, Mr. Architect Jabeen. I'll get back to you in a bit. I would love to hear from Mr. Lai, your take in becoming an empathic designer and having that calling in your career.
Well, first, I must say I'm not an emphatic designer.
Yeah.
But I guess thank you for giving this platform and also the topic, which is a very interesting topic, which I've never thought of. So during this preparation for this webinar, and I start to reflect, when was the last, well, when was the first time or first encounter with emphatic design? So it's about 25 years ago. I was quite fortunate to get involved designing private healthcare facilities in Kuala Lumpur. It's called the Glen Eagles Hospital. This project, we collaborate with an architect firm from San Francisco. And this was my first moment of realization about how crucial empathy is all about. So as a designer, we need to acknowledge that the primary aim of a hospital is to make patients healthy again. It is a fact that along with physical well-being, mental and emotional health is equally important. Since empathy-driven design is based on how people feel in those spaces, we focus on the design concept that can create positive feelings and a pleasant experience like a hotel, where you feel relaxed, calm, happy, and at ease. That was that was my first calling. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Lai. I'd love to hear from Mr. Michael. What is your first calling about being empathic and human-centeredness in your design? Michael, you need to unmute first. Great.
There you go. Good. Good afternoon, everyone. When did I first encounter or discover the word empathic design? It didn't come to me that noticeably, I should say. My introduction to the world of interior design came as a surprise. In fact, I am a pre-med student by degree. And when I started working as a professional interior designer, I noticed I've been getting a lot of restaurant spaces. So I most probably have accomplished about 100 in the span of 10 years. And then I asked myself, what makes this restaurant work? Is design composed of well-detailed interiors, perfect selection of furniture, lighting, color, and everything? There must be a winning formula that elevates your design and meets its purpose. You know, I've realized when I look at all the projects I've seen, there's just one common thing that's happening. There's life. So what created the life force inside the space? I realized beautiful spaces are nice to look at, but empathic spaces or spaces with soul and heart are great to be in. Having realized that, I kind of became aware of how to structuralize or how to bring myself to that space of creating empathic designs. And after that, I said goodbye to my mind when I design and listened more to my heart and listen to that small inner voice. And I talk to that small voice every time I create concepts. And that's how my love story with empathic design started.
All right. Thank you, Michael. So I really love how architect Jabeen went through a fantasy broken. And then I love how Mr. Lai never consider yourself as an empathic designer, and how Michael, you transitioned from pre-med into design and you design with your heart. You just close your eyes and design. So I think everyone have their own exploration of becoming a better designer. I wouldn't use the word empathic just as a whole, but better designer. But what I really want to know is how tough it is for you guys to continuously balance between what you want to deliver versus what the client wants, you know? Like architect Jabeen mentioned just now, how your superior told you it's impossible for you to add on that 1 square feet of toilet because it impacts the whole design project, especially when there's no margin for error. So Architect Jabeen, maybe from you, what is your uphill battle in balancing becoming who you want to become and versus what the client wants?
Yeah. When we become empathic designers, or when we even think about concept like sustainability and all that, you are also kind of entering into battlefield. Like residential projects, it might be okay because you are directly talking to your client who is the owner. And when we explain that, okay, spend this many dollars more and you are going to benefit this much, the user and the person who is investing both are the same. But when it goes to non-residential projects, user is a third party. There is somebody else in the between. Yes, he wants to do a beautiful project with whole heart and his intentions are good, but he also has to make a profit out of it. And that is a function of that design, that this should be profitable also. So there comes the conflict, how to manage it. I think the method is simple. You have to rely on logistics. You have to have some logic, rational thinking, and make it clear to him that you invest this much and in the long run, this is going to come back. And just because, our earlier speaker said about hospitals, I can tell you something. I was doing a new blog for a running hospital at Kochi. And for my first appointment, when I went into the hospital, it's the super specialty hospital, and it is full of marble and granite and the most contemporary theme, and it is almost like spick and span. So they were sure to ask this question to impress me, and they asked me, "What do you think about our present hospital?" I said, "I don't think that much." Why? They were surprised. I said, "These spaces are too cool. The people who come here are people who want to have some empathy, not a showing off space. So you have to balance. So what can we do? Bringing more light, bringing views, bringing natural ventilation, give them some windows so that they will have hope. And instead of spending the money on the walls, put yourself in that patient's shoes. You will be lying on the bed and looking at the ceiling. The ceiling is plain. So when you look at life and the uncertainty of it, spend it well. Instead of the walls, maybe look at the ceiling. So meaningless painting, the showing off, that is not required. In fact, if you do the other thing, your own project will be more meaningful to you. The recovery rate will be much better, and therefore they went with me. So I think the direction is to make your client, whenever there is a conflict, into your confidence and say that do this. In the long run, you are going to benefit and you are going to benefit people positively. Thank you.
Thank you, Architect Jabeen. I'll come back to you with another add-on question, but I would love to hear from Mr. Lai first. Yeah, I'll come back to you in a bit.
So I guess it's three words. Is listen, listen, and listen.
Okay.
So it's actually one word is listen, right? Listening is the key to understand our clients' needs. We need to know what are the issues and what are the problems. So our goal as a designer is to have a deep understanding of the problem and the realities of the people that we are designing for, right? And their purpose, and also to focus on the problem that we're going to solve. What is the real problems that is there for us to sort of look into. So this process involves observing, engaging, and also empathizing in order to understand their experiences and motivation, as well as immersing yourself in their physical environment, like Architect Jabeen mentioned, right? In order to have a deep personal understanding of the issue, their needs, and challenges involved. And this is what I always shared with my designer in the studio, always put oneself in someone's shoes. Try to look at a situation from a different point of view. So that's not one way of solving a problem, but put yourself and empathize. What's a real situation? What are they experiencing, and what are we trying to solve? And one important skills that that we need to master is really to take criticism constructively with an open mind. Again, we have to listen. We have to listen through our heart, and we need to develop intuition, imaginations, and also emotional sensitivity and creativity in order to dig deeper without prying too personally, and to extract the right kinds of insight, so to make a more meaningful design solutions that meets the client's needs and the purpose. I think that's key. I guess, yeah, that's about all I'd like to share. And of course, through this whole process, there are some arguments or misalignment. So I guess our job here is always alignment to the goal, and remind ourselves or remind everyone what is the main purpose that we need to lead the team to focus, and to align everyone to get buy-in harmoniously. I think that's really key.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lai. I did listen, and listen. and
3 words, right?
Bravo, listen times 3, and then alignment and purpose. Mr. Michael, would you like to add on? What's your perspective?
As I'm listening to everyone, I myself learning. My take on your question, Brandon, is really anchored on one basic principle, and what's that? Mindfulness. Simply, mindfulness is just looking at yourself as you're doing something. It's self-monitoring, it's self-introspection. When you become mindful not only of your acts, you focus on the purpose. How does it work? I simply believe we create our creation, or what we do externally, what our actions create, are products of our internal spaces. So if you are mindful of what the current calling of the project is asking of us, then we get to internalize and really understand what and how we should handle the project. So having said that, I'm a firm believer that every project is an opportunity to establish relationship with your clients. And having said that, it is when difficult moments that you will realize investing in a relationship will really pay off. And having said that, you can actually shift from being a friend, a consultant, a teacher, a mentor, or a coach when you are handling a challenge or a situation that calls for tougher actions, for movements or choices that comes from the heart. So I think everything has a way of flattening things. Everything has a way of getting the end. In the end, it's not who wins. In the end, it's everyone gets it.
Okay. Everyone gets it. So I can't wait for the Q&A. There's already 2 burning questions from our panel, from our attendees. So I have 2 questions for our panel speakers. The first one's by Amrita. She's like, when you are designing, are you conscious to be empathic, or you add on the empathic factors as you design and as you go? What is your journey? What is your design process when it comes to empathic design? Anyone would like to take this question?
I can take it.
Sure. Michael, please.
As I've mentioned earlier, it will just hit you how the question would appeal to you. There are cases that you're asked to be technical. There are cases that you will be asked to use your empathic approach to the design. And my way of flexing my empathic approach in design is imagining the result. You know, our industry is so blessed with so many tools, and one of the most efficient tool that we are abusively using is creating beginning with the end in mind. And what tool is that? We design, we draw, we create perspective, we create boards, and let that board be a tangible record on how you feel about the project, how passionate you are, how your emotions, how the elements of emotions are building on the result. You don't need to memorize the elements and principles of design. In the end, they are hiring designers not because they know. They are hiring designers because they understood.
All right, thank you, Michael, so much. I hope that one answers Amrita's question. But I also have another question to our speakers based on our attendees. That's also a budding question I wanted to ask. So assume I'm a budding student, I'm a new designer, fresh out of university. How does one start nurturing our abilities and perspective to move towards, human-centered and empathic architecture? Because we have so many people to report to, we may not be able to meet our clients. Where should we start, and how should we start? In your perspective, maybe Architect Jabeen and Mr. Lai, would you guys like to take it on? How a person could become more persuasive in this segment, maybe?
Yeah, I think the best way, if you can, is to go on a travel. Understand the land, the flora, the fauna, the people. It will talk to you. And wisdom will launch on you. Because design is about people and how we shape their lives. So in colleges, we don't get that opportunity. If you look at all famous architects from Le Corbusier to B.V. Doshi, anybody, somewhere at some point of time, at a crucial point, they have done this pilgrimage, I should say, wherein you unlearn a lot of things you have learned at college, and then you connect with the land, the people, the culture, the nature. So that is one good thing to do. I'm still doing it whenever I get time, traveling, and then, learning, unlearning, again learning. That's it.
Understand. Mr. Lai, would you like to add on? If I'm a new budding designer, how should I go about this?
I think one of your questions down this webinar, I will answer that later. But just to share very simple things, right? I believe, I truly believe everything begins from our heart. Whether it is having a dinner with someone that you're close to, or you're designing something, everything should begin from the heart and to meet a purpose. So there's two keywords, I guess. We need to constantly remind ourselves what is the main purpose, and what do we feel from our heart? What do we want to achieve? What do we want to impact the people and the environment with this design that we are putting forward? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lai. So I would love to move to question 3. I'll come back to Q&A in a bit. So I have a poll that I'd like to prepare for our participants. In your opinion, which are the following are the most important elements in empathic design? So as you guys answer the poll, I will get our speakers to share. How would you best describe an empathic design or an empathic designer? As usual, we'll start with Architect Jabeen. Question number 3 for you.
So, empathic design for me, the best way to understand is to know that it is not sympathy we are talking about. Understanding empathy and defining it basically becomes easy if you are able to mind this difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is probably that particular reaction and response we have as good human beings when somebody is in a negative situation and it is a reaction. Whereas empathy is not a reaction or a response to negative, even positive. It is simply the ability to be them, understand them. And sometimes being rude can be empathetic. For a kid who cries for a snake because it is too fancy to look at, you don't give it. You are firm because you know that it's going to harm. So, being empathetic is to put the best interest of somebody else and follow that path. And I like what Lai said about heart. I even connected to the soul. I think it is about being a very good human being and then being able to relate with our brethren just equally as ourselves, and then being mindful, like the other speaker told. So this is a combination, and I think it all should come from a philosophy, because every time when you design, it is not actually a question you ask. So I have to be empathetic. What would I do this, or how would I do this? This should come from a deep philosophy, which as an architect, as a designer, you have to develop. You have to have that understanding. You have to have that tears in your eyes and that song in your heart or your soul, and then able to do it. It is the fountainhead we are talking about. Any design, anytime, anywhere, you have to have a philosophy which is based on need and not greed, based on love and not money. So that's what empathy, kind of defines.
Thank you, Architect Jabeen. I would love to hear from Mr. Lai's add-on to the perspective of empathy.
Yeah, thank you. To me, empathic design is a thinking process, right? And that focus on providing human-centered design solutions. But what is key is focus on the ability to infuse design with heartfelt emotion. Everything is, besides what you're thinking, is really down what you are feeling and how you wanted to put this emotion into this overall design scheme. So the main essence of empathic design must have positive values. For example, values of well-being, love, calmness, tranquility, warmth, hope, clarity, safety, carefree, and happy. I think that's very key. And try very hard and your very best to remove all the negative value, like darkness, noisy, cold, as architect Jabeen mentioned about the hospital lobby. You walk in, you feel cold. It should be a warm space, right? And so the other negative values like claustrophobic, intimidating, dating, and stuff like that. So as long as you put forward all the positive values in the beginning of your design process, what is the emotion that you want to create? I think that's key. From there, you just keep back and forth following that values, the positive values that you want to instill into your project. And so I guess the awakening will come. The awakening will come when we became more concerned, and we empathize for the well-being of the people that we are designing for. So, and the desire to create a solution that are sustainable and focus on all pertinent areas that can affect us in the long term. Something that hits you emotionally, and this could be a friend or your community or your family and even your loved ones. I guess that's where it sort of create that impact or that awakening is like, okay, the next time when I deal with these issues, I got to be more sensitive about it. I got to pay more attention to it. Just to share with you an example, when we design a staircase in a public area, I pay a lot of attention to the steps, the way how people sort of make their first step, second, third, and fourth, and the last few steps when you land, and that's very key. Reason being, 15 years ago, my mother-in-law passed away, and because she fell from a staircase, just one floor down, and she left us. So that's have a deep impact in me. And when I now look at staircase, it's something that I pay a lot of attention to ensure that the user are safe using the staircase that we design.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lai. So before I go to Michael, I just want to do an announcement to all our attendees. Thank you so much for everyone throwing so many questions at me. I am overwhelmed with questions, but what I will do is, if we can't answer everything today, I will be sure to document these, and then I will get our speakers to respond after the webinar as well. So don't worry if we miss out on your question today. We'll be sure to answer and get back to you on how things are. So Michael, maybe you want to go through our question 3 first while I rearrange our answers and questions.
Okay. How would you best describe an empathic design? You know, the best feedback or the best response to a well-designed space is that they created memories out of it. I'm very clear in my purpose in designing not to highlight so much on the aesthetics, the details, the colors, everything. I'm very mindful that all of these things are just part of the background. The front and center is human activity. The front and center of all of this design we are all doing is to provide the perfect setup, backdrop, stage for an experience. My heart is full that when someone comes to a space I designed, their feedback is on how well they felt, how good a conversation they had, how well a sleep they had, how good a meal they had, how memories were built on that space. Because I know deep in my heart that the spaces I created and I designed meet its purpose. That is to focus on human activity and to enrich human lives with these positive, enriching activities they have.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What I really love about 3 of our speakers is you guys go so up close and personal with your beliefs, with your life's journey, and I am a bit tearing now. No, I think it's very important that, you know, our attendees get to feel what is empathic design to you at a philosophical and value level. So we do have some questions that ask you about whether you have a specific project in mind, or whether you have a section or a segment that you will do a presentation, which everyone, don't worry. Later on, we will, each of our speaker will be sharing their past projects that is very close to their heart, how to demonstrate empathic design in your work and actual work. So it's not just about all glamour and all happy that we're just talking about empathic, you know, but we have actual case studies by our speakers. How do you implement it in very different level? So we have a lot of Q&A, a few questions that I've rolled out. A recurring theme would be, is empathy only for people, or should it go hand in hand with environment? So how does this work in your line of work? Would anyone like to start? Architect Jabeen, you?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
That's a real good question, because empathy cannot be focused onto people or to some special aspect of a design. It is a nature in us. If you are empathic, your designs are empathic. And there, wherever you interact with whatever you do, nature, people who are building, people who are using, your clients. So it's a nature in you which you develop as an architect, as a true friend of all these. So you cannot be selectively be empathetic to anybody. If you are empathetic to everybody and to each and every factor and element you deal with in the process of your design. That's what I believe.
Thank you. Anyone like to add on about working hand in hand with for people and environment in the sense of empathy? Okay, no add on. Thank you, Architect Jabeen. Let me just go through here. There is a fine, okay, so an anonymous, very mysterious attendee asks, there is a fine line between physical and mental well-being as an empathic person or designer. How do we make the choice between two when necessary? What if there's no choice? You know, which one would you give up, for example? Okay, I'm making this question tougher for you guys. Anyone would like to pick this up? Or we can leave it to...
Say that again?
Sorry, okay. There's a fine line between, okay, no, I lost the question. Give me a moment. There's so many questions popping in. It's you guys have no idea how stressed out and happy I am that people are asking questions. Just give me a moment. Let me look for it. Oh no, where is it? Oh, here. There is a fine line between physical and mental well-being. Okay, I don't think it's a fine line. Anonymous attendee, let me rephrase your question for you. So if their situation doesn't allow you to do both, would you prioritize physical health or mental health? Why so? Okay, so the trick question is, guys, I won't let you say either, so you have to pick one. Because I just want to hear from you how you want to prioritize. I'm just making your life harder, I know. Yeah. Michael, Architect Jabeen, okay. Mr. Lai, anyone?
Okay, can I start? Can I start?
Yes, please, Michael.
If I wish I can say that if you cut a finger, you can grow it back. You know what I mean? If that is to say, I can choose between physical and mental well-being. It's a matter of which of the two can we more manage. Since I'm more into the emotions of design, I'd go for the mental well-beingness of design. Mm-hmm. To be in a good space is almost like being in a cocoon. Mm-hmm. And I don't see any harm in being in a cocoon. I mean, the whole concept of a cocoon is already physically and mentally putting you in a space of Shangri-La, if I may say. Mm-hmm. So, I choose mental well-being if I were to choose.
All right, sure. Architect Jabeen, Mr. Lai, do you guys have a standpoint?
Yeah, I agree with Michael. I choose physical well-being because a good design is as good as is able to connect and to forge the relationship, between the user and the space. So that's key. Otherwise, it's good looking, but it doesn't connect to people. I think that's not where we should be doing, and that's not what I'm passionate about. I guess physical the wellness is key to me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lai. Architect Jabeen, do you have a...
Actually, it is so very coincidental that, day before yesterday, or Sunday afternoon, I was having my afternoon nap, okay? And as I was kind of going into that nap, I could feel the rustle of the leaves of the bamboo and the birds. So suddenly from nowhere, this question came to me. This is so beautiful. And then if I were to choose between the tree that houses that bird and the bamboo or the house, you can only have one. What will you choose? So suddenly I thought that, will I let go of my house and then say that, okay, I'm fine under this tree listening to the rustle of the leaves and the birds? Mm-hmm. So it's the same question. And I chose the tree and the birds. Mm-hmm. So that is where we come to nature, and the heart is what leads us. Mm-hmm. The thing is, people don't really realize. It is also about, if I'm going to tell this to my client, he will just kick me. Can you do it? So it's also about the person and his, philosophy, I told you, right? So
Yes.
all I need to do in life, we are all travelers in this planet, you come
Yep.
up with nothing, you go without anything. And what you have, just like Michael said, is memories and stories till that last day. That's what will last you. And in that case, I only choose the trees and the birds. Yeah. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Architect Jabeen. Thank you, guys. It's amazing. Now we have understand your standpoints, your value, your perspectives. The next segment of our webinar, I would love to understand a bit more on a methodology point of view. How do you grow? How do you become a better designer? So my first question for the segment number 2 would be, how does one person, so this also resonate with the Q&A that attendees have thrown at us as well. So how do we grow our empathic design senses in terms of research methodology, or in terms of, is there a framework in mind, or what have you gone through? What is your, what Michael mentioned earlier, there's a winning formula. So I would love to hear from you, how these 300 attendees that's online with us, how can they learn from and to become, in the sense that have that more keen sense, intuition, right? Methodology, how do we have a winning formula? Yeah. So Architect Jabeen, would you like to start?
Oh, it's again, starting with the lady.
Would you like, do you need a break?
Fine.
Okay, great.
Ladies first.
Ladies first, yes.
Then one thing I want to emphasize is, amongst designers and architects, there's no gender. There are only good architects and not that good architects. Okay? So for me, my approach is really holistic. I have always believed that I don't design anything, but then I listen, as the other speakers are also saying, a lot of listening there, and then just being the medium for all these forces and understanding to flow through me into that plain canvas. So I don't take more than 4 designs at a time. I don't believe in money. I believe that the pure privilege of doing, shaping a space and being of service to somebody, that itself is a great thing. Yes, we have to have our fees, we have to buy our AutoCAD, right? So that is there. But then the priority is about the type of the project, how enriching it can be. And only 4 projects at a time, and particularly during the design segment or that particular timeline, I really don't rush. In fact, after I listen to a brief, I just forget about it and then go. But then the thing is, as designers, you can understand it will work in our subconscious. During that night, maybe in the sleep, maybe in the shower, the right idea or the pivotal concept will happen to you. All designs, I believe that there is a key point, a turning point, which is so very specific and unique. Maybe it is because of that story of the client, maybe it is because of the location of the site, but every project is unique. You cannot repeat. And it has to dawn on you. This is where you kind of anchor your design and then you start. And when you start, I don't let any of my earlier projects come and influence me. I don't try to do it on any software. I am good at almost all software, in spite of being 60, I must tell you. I know ArchiCAD, AutoCAD, Revit. I master it also. However, while designing, it is simply paper and pencil, because I think pencil is a magic wand. And a magic wand cannot be kind of, twisted or turned in certain, kind of coordinates. It has to flow. And there is this higher divine understanding which flows through you. And the pencil becomes a magic wand, and you are only a medium. And if you're very true to that, what do you say, that intent, that desire to do a story, tell a story, something unique for these people who really trust you. Like in Alchemist, we read, the entire universe will come and you will be doing a good design, you will peg it right. That's my experience all through my 30 years of practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Architect Jabeen. I would love to hear from Mr. Lai, please.
So the question is about the formula, right? The framework.
Yes, yes, your own formula or your own experience.
Okay, my principle for the last 10 years, and it sort of becomes my little tagline everywhere, is it's 4 words, 4 letters, design from the heart. So in Chinese, for those of you who know Mandarin, 从心开始. So it's a very powerful principle that I attended a conference in China, and this Olympic winner, and he shared with us of his whole journey, the life journey, and that has really impacted me deeply, and I was really, really touched by his story. So since then, my principle, whatever I'm doing or things that I'm going to embark on is to begin from the heart, and in design practice is design from the heart. So next elements that I'd like to share is define the purpose. Yeah, in every project there must be a purpose why we are doing this, why our client wants us to do this, and what is the goal and what is the vision, and that's key. So today, empathy and inclusion are surprisingly is a diverse topic, but the goal of this idea is a better understanding of our fellow human beings and a respect for their autonomy. As designer, empathy and inclusion should be our core, and a truly people-first, people-centric design process. Mm-hmm. We can make our world a little bit better with every design decision. So a better world. 2 weekends ago, I was flipping through my Netflix and I turned on the concert by Michael Jackson, the last concert which is supposed to take place. This is it. And there's a very interesting video that has sort of touched me. It's the song is called Heal the World. If you have chance, please check it out. It's a very powerful video, and is about where the world is moving to, and for the next generations or the generations and beyond, what are the actions that we need to do right now? So yeah, Michael Jackson, great guy, and it's a great message for everyone. So check it out. And as I mentioned earlier, yeah, a good design is only good as its ability to connect and to forge relationship with the people who are ultimately using it. So I guess with this, I will demonstrate later with the 2 projects that I have to share with you. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Lai. Michael, your turn.
Okay. Can I just start by saying awareness is very important. In fact, awareness is key because awareness is the catalyst of change. Mm-hmm. Having said that, it puts you right away in a different internal perspective of being empathic. If there's another word that I may want to add on to it, is the word authenticity. Authenticity is very key and it's very important because the word itself, you can't fake it. And I believe every project is not only a project to conquer, but a project to grow. And I have a 3-word formula or a 3-step process that creates the spark in your heart to take on the challenge, to take on what is in front of you and journey in that project. And what's that? Number 1, discover. I'd like to say, students, number 1, discover. So what do I mean by that? Discover is with awareness and authenticity, ask yourself, what is this project asking of me right now? What will be my contribution to this project? How will I be in this project? Discover is moving forward without fear, moving forward with trusting yourself that you can do this. Trust that is anchored on authenticity because you know yourself you can do it. Next, embrace. Always embrace the uncertain. Always embrace the challenge. Because when you embrace what is in front of you, it's almost like embracing the future ahead of you. Lastly, at the end of the day, we wake up for a purpose. Be that designer that lives your purpose. Be that person who will create your future. Be that designer, be that architect that will create the vision of hope and the vision of future through your empathic design. So remember, be aware, be authentic, discover, embrace, and be the person, be the professional you want to be.
All right. Thank you, Michael, so much. So I'm going to take a very quick interruption. Dear attendees, so this is what I'm going to do because there's so many questions that will go unanswered, unfortunately. There are 13 questions pending, attendees, our speakers, not to shock you guys, but just to prepare you. So what I'm going to do is I would love all 300 of you, 300 of you to vote which are the questions that must be answered today, because there's a like button in the question and answer box. I'm sorry, those who are not voted, unfortunately, I will answer you offline after this. We will publish the answers after we speak to our speakers, yeah? So what you can do now is go to the Q&A box, vote which burning question you want to ask our speakers. It's not easy to get Architect Jabeen, Mr. Lai, and Mr. Michael in the same frame. It's really hard to book their time. I know it's precious, but I also want you guys to show a bit more enthusiastic if you want your questions to be answered, all right? Now, just now we mentioned a lot about their winning formula and their methodology. Next, I would love to see our speakers show their projects that they would like to show as an example for empathic design. So what we can do is, as usual, we'll start with Architect Jabeen and your project for Le Meridian. Over to you. Okay, we'll give you the pointer as well.
Are you seeing my pointer on the screen now?
Yes, you can now move. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm sharing one of my most favorite projects. All projects are favorite, but this is maybe very, very close to my heart because it is special at multiple fronts. This is the world famous Kovalam Beach. If you look at Kerala, where I belong to and where this building is also situated, it is identified by the National Geographic as one of the 16 once in a lifetime destinations in the world. So you have to remember how beautiful it is. And this building, so this is an international location, and this building is an internationally famous building from an internationally famous architect, Charles Correa. I hope you have heard about him. So, and this has been with the India Tourism Department for quite long. Okay, it's a very basic structure for levels clinging onto a cliff, and this is the ocean. So I was called in when Le Meridian, again, the global leaders, international leaders of tour operations took up this project. And then I was the interior designer because the building was already there for this building. And maybe the architect for another area wherein we were putting villas, and also the chief consultant for the project. And for the Le Meridian, they themselves have a big design team, right from the students of famous architect Philip Johnson in the team. So I was the chief consultant as well as interior designer for the project. So it was a truly international, famous project. And the beauty is that I was able to make it truly local, make it belong to the people, unlike that gated compounds and also make it truly personal to every visitor and also every person who was associated with this project. I'm not able to move my slide. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a slight 1 second delay, I think.
Yes.
Thank you.
So as you can see, this is the project. And 2/3 of this famous beach belongs to this property. And this is the Charles Correa building, which I had to renovate the interiors. And this would be the area where I have to do the new cottages. So these were the important areas. And here, let me just go to the next slide. Yes. As you can see here, you have a rough section. This is the main building itself where I did interiors, decked up. And this is how the rooms were. There were twin rooms and you can see a narrow passage, which was for the ducks and all, actually not attended to at all. And then the lobby space and a corridor connecting all this. So when I took over, Meridian was not at all happy with this building because as you can see, the height of each floor was only 8 feet. And they wanted to do, will you believe it? Demolish the building, dismantle it. So I said, no, it's a Charles Correa building and it has to stay. And the humility of that building is the beauty of it. So I had to really do a little bit of convincing. And the first true win was I made Meridian believe that this building can work. That was an empathetic move from my side to that building itself. Secondly, what I did is, this is a beautiful nature outside. And why should this be also cold and indifferent? Can't these rooms be part of the nature, situated amidst the nature? Can't I bring the nature through all these ducts and make it flow in? That's what I did. Here you can see a zoomed up plan. This ducts brought in ventilation and light, and the nature actually flowed in. These were terraces, and even the lobby, everything was made to look at as if it is part of the nature. Nothing was built in, but these rooms were simply perched amidst nature itself. So you can see these ducts which open up into beautiful framed views. So it brought in a lot of character. So bringing the nature itself was another empathic move, I should say, and making it lovely for all the people to experience nature right where they are. Yes. So here you can see these lights are from all those passages which used to, bring in ducts. And here the lobby, you can see, I made the local culture and the traditions and the color of the tropics part of this. Unlike that cool gray granite lobby, here there was like Kerala itself. The land, the culture, the taste of the colors, everything brought in. And you look at this ceiling, usually in 5-star hotels, you see everything polished. Here, these are just, very raw cut wooden planks collected from anywhere and everywhere, treated and put it. So all this actually kind of also celebrated our imperfections, which actually means that people will be able to relax and see the beauty. Now, the next thing which we did is, there were like these chalet rooms wherein it is open. Here there was no privacy, it's the doors opening right from the corridors. And here we created small spaces and created small entry, a special welcome for people, which again was a move of real good, warm welcome to each and everybody. So welcoming in a special way from the heart, creating their own small spaces and then taking into the rooms. And even here, small spaces for their scale and for their, kind of moment to own, and then throwing it on to the sea. You can see this is the balcony here with their own space and then throwing it open to the sea. Here again, you can see how, these small courtyards which we shaped in to bring it like, as their own with a special welcome. Then moving the real small crafted elements and features from the local architecture which we brought in, and then the room itself which flows through the balcony and right into the sea. So the space itself was only a transcending medium. It was not closed. It was just flowing through. The nature was flowing even through the roof. And these were all private places or spaces, sole spaces created for the users. Here you can see the inside of the room. Everything relates in some way to Kerala and the vernacular architecture. Here, this furniture, it belongs to Kerala, it is authentic. The kind of, fabric we have chosen is from the local mills. And then actually you can see the outside here and the nature here. So as I told you, the space flows. Here again, you can see even these paintings and all are photos of the pictures of the plant or the garden outside. This is again another view of another room. And these are all details which really relate to the vernacular architecture and interior features of the state. So here, this is the area which we designed as an architect, architectural space. You take hold of this villa. What happened is, at the 14th hour, there was a big calamity, and then the whole project here, this particular grove part, which was due to be opened on December 23rd, it couldn't happen because of the tsunami. And then the thing is, I transformed my entire office I transferred it from Cochin, and we all came and lived here. This is the villa, me and one villa which we shared, me and my 13 staff. And here we were also part of the team of the builders, the masons, the carpenters, the painters. So we actually kind of made one full family out of that team. In these lawns, we slept at night because, there were only 20 days to complete.
Jabeen, do pay attention on the timing. Yeah, thank you.
This is the last slide.
Thank you.
This is how it looked on the last day. So here it was empathy at different scales, starting from the first main block to the minutest detail, the people who worked in those sites to the people who came as users. And finally, my only condition was the first dinner in the hotel should go to all those people who were working in this project, and that's what we did. So that was again a very satisfying moment, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Architect Jabeen. It's a beautiful and really impactful and heartful project. Next, I would pass the floor to Mr. Lai.
Hi. The two projects that I'd like to share with all of you. One of them is an installation, or rather both of them are installation. The first one is called Project 57. Project 57 is a social enterprise and a non-political organization promoting unity to the youth who are the future of our nation. So their project is called, the title of this project is called A Movement of Hope. And this is because the owner wanted the people to join in, rising the negative vibes and focus on what is great, wonderful, and beautiful about our nation, Malaysia. And therefore, they sell T-shirts with the messages, which carry the messages on the T-shirts. And 100% of the profit goes to empowerment of the local tribes youth. In Malaysia, we call it Orang Asli youth, and also helping the unprivileged. So this is our artist impression. This space is a very tight space, very small in a shopping mall. It's only about 25 meter square space. And our core message that we want to project is the feeling of hope. If you can see on the backdrop of this retail space, there are 4 letters, H-O-P-E, hope, with the background of our National Day, where we have, where Malaysia was independent. So on the right box, which is the orange box, as you can see, it's the main product, which is the t-shirts. If you see the boxes right at the end, the t-shirts are kind of framed nicely within the boxes, but we place it at the side of the store and make the message hope as the main focal point, as the main message of what Project 57 is trying to promote. So the narrative for this project is called Weaving Hope. If you see the images on the right, is one of the letter where it consists of 4 different color threads that inspired from our national flag. We have red, blue, yellow, and white. So the 5 designers are from my studio. So we did everything in-house with some help from the contractor who did the metal hollow frame for us. So the beautiful things about this installation is that it has connected many amazing people together who contribute to the design, having a common vision of bringing hope and unity to our beautiful country, and the most important, which is the most important goal of this project. This is a completed picture that we've taken from the site. As if you see, what we have added on here is we use the letter O to frame the icon of Project 57, which is our first Prime Minister. So that becomes an icon that was applied throughout all the merchandise and t-shirts that they produce. Because our first Prime Minister, the main message was to promote unity among the different races in our country. So our client, happy client, I hope you can see their happy faces, which is very important. Yeah, in any project, we need to fulfill our clients' needs or requirements, so they're very, very happy. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, a good project, it's only good as the ability to connect and forge relationship with the people who ultimately use it. So if you see here, there's a lot of walking guests in the mall that is very curious, wanted to know what's going on, what are this guy doing, what is the meaning of this whole installation, and so forth. So there is a great connection between our design, our space, which we have emotionally connected with our target audience. Yeah, so that's about Project 57. So the next project that I'll be sharing here will be a shopping mall. So Setia City Mall 2, which is 2 stands for an extension. So it's a shopping mall with about 500,000 square feet additional to the existing mall. 500,000 square feet, which is about 50 meters square of new spaces. So besides looking into the design of the ceiling, the floor, and the railing, which is straightforward but interesting, but that's not the main thing I would like to share today. What we wanted to do here is to create a space that has a soul, that has that's emotive, And that's where we begin our story here with reviving childhood days. So the whole idea here is to bring back the moments where we enjoy our free time, chasing each other under the sun or under the trees in the park, and having fun and games where chemical reaction between creativity and the surroundings. And they found joy in each other's company, and celebrate togetherness. And that's our main key point of this. So the DNA here is modern and clean, fun, light and airy. And of course, the main key message here we want to bring in is happiness, happenings. So we have created a number of, or rather a series of installations, which is larger than life. What we wanted is to create this spaces that promote slowing down, focus, reflection, and intimate conversation among friends and family, and an environment that are naturally welcoming, inviting, and connections among family and friends. So it's about connection between people and the space, and we're using art and object here to encourage the vision, to encourage the values which I've shared earlier. So what you see here, the first slide, this is, as I mentioned, everything is larger than life. This is pickup sticks. So part of the sticks which you see, it becomes a bench that you can actually sit, have a quick rest before you moved on, and also can be a good Instagram moment with your family and friends. And the next elements here, we have animals balloon. So we have designed a few animal balloons, again, creating space to do reflections and to have fun. The next one, which is a paper boat. So all the elements that we're using here is the simple and the most interesting toys that we play when we were young. Not an iPad, not an iPhone games, nothing. So it's back to basic. It's really to bring back the reviving the childhood days that we have. So the paper boat is also a place for the younger kids to rest and to sit together with their parents. And we have also developed a range of plastic chairs, the plastic stackable chairs, which is very commonly found in a lot of the roadside street cafe, and also in some of our homes and our front yard, backyard. It's a very, very robust plastic chair that you can stack up 10 to 15 pieces. So what we have done here is we've kind of linked all the chairs here with the main spine. This main spine, again, allowed you to install the USB charger, so you can charge your phone and your whatever gadgets if you wanted to, and a place for you to rest. And of course, we stylize it with some interesting graphic on it. And of course, my favorite is paper plane. You see a couple of paper planes that is sort of flying or crash on the ground. It becomes part of the bench. And the last elements I'd like to share with you here is the helium balloons. The helium balloons becomes the feature lights at the entrance. And this is what we wanted to do. Just imagine a young kids in the park holding the balloons, and he is being carried by the father or the mother or the grandfather and reaching out with the balloon. So everything here is about connection. It's about reflection, and really, you know, at the same time, it's fun. So I would show two other slides. These are the real full-size objects that we have done. This is halfway done. We visited the factory. This is the paper plane. And yeah, they're all ready now, waiting to deliver to our job site. It should be ready by third quarter of this year. If you look at this picture here, we have 5 stones. Those at the far end, those are 5 stones, but they're huge, yeah. And we also have the paper boat together with one of our local famous cake. It's called layer cakes. So yeah, I'd like to end this by saying, yeah, the whole note here is to create connections, bonds, carefree, fun, and very importantly, love. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lai, so much for both your installation projects. Next would be, I love Michael's because it showcases food as well. So I'll pass the floor to you, Michael.
Can I just start by saying, I got very excited and very moved by the designs of the 2 other speakers. Okay. Now, when Melody and Brandon approached me about this talk, and they asked me what project can I share, in an instant, I knew right away what I'm going to show. In the middle of the height of the pandemic here in the Philippines, our organization created a video blog on how can we put value on being a designer and creating memorable moments, memorable moments at home. Remember, at this point in time, we cannot go out. We cannot even buy any accessory or anything at in the malls because everything is closed. Okay, so when they asked me to participate and then in an instant, I knew right away, and I told them I want to do a garden setting. I want to maximize on the opportunity on how nature has bloomed by itself, on how the plants revived by itself, on how to take advantage of the plants around us. Now, in this particular table setting, I just made use of everything I have at home. The divan, the stools, the mat, everything is at home. In fact, what is very interesting here is that I wanted to create something that when the first guest sits on the table, there is a story to share. The first thing I came up with is to create a living table runner. So what I did here is that I looked in my storage and I found a roll of fabric, and I found a roll of straw mats. And what I did was just fold it on both ends and tuck in all live flowers and plants and leaves of different varieties, almost creating like a pattern amidst the blank canvas of the table itself. So what I did was just build on it. So if you notice here, I just washed everything, laid out everything, pinned it, and then start to build on it. As I've mentioned, I didn't buy any single thing here. Everything is available at home. So if you will do the next slide, I'll show you something else.
Next slide, please. All right.
Next slide, please.
Thank you.
Okay, so in here, together with the concept, I asked myself, if I will have guests here, what will be the experience I want to create? You know, I am a self-taught gardener, and every time I go in the garden, the dogs will, you know what, this is crazy. Every time I garden, the dogs will literally play with 2 indigenous birds in the garden. You will almost hear them chirping and running and barking at each other as they go around. And I want to share that story. Thus, I looked into my inventory and I saw this porcelain birds. And that kind of created the moment, or maybe what you may say, a piece de resistance, or an object of art that may trigger a conversation, and they would ask, so why is there a bird on the table? And then I can easily tell the story of how the birds and the dogs play around while I'm gardening. And if I may want to add on to this table setting, everything you see here is homemade. I roasted the bell peppers that's harvested in an all organic farm way up north. We call Baguio. I dabble on artisanal food. I make my own chorizo, and that is the main component of the pasta. And down to the last dinner roll, I made myself. So what am I saying here? When you want to create an experience, you want to give as much as possible, the best of you and the best of what you can do. I will always say and tell this to people who are interested in cooking. Don't be surprised when you cook something that it tastes so salty when you poured a lot of salt. Short of saying that, don't be surprised when the food becomes spicy when you put a lot of chili on it. So what's the point? The point there is you are the author of the experience. Mind you, you're not just an interior designer, not just an architect. What I want to focus here is the moment that my guest sits on the table, they will not look or focus on one single element. They will immerse themselves in the experience of looking at the leaves on the table, smelling the small flowers on the vase, looking at the birds, smelling the food, putting the cheese spread on the roll as they savor on the noodles. And at the end of the day, what you will hear is not, how did you make this? How did you do that? The sounds you will hear are the sound of laughter and conversation as they immerse themselves in the whole experience. Designing is not just creating aesthetic balance of everything. For me, designing empathically means authoring an experience that they will bring home. They will not talk about the pretty chandelier they saw in a banquet. They will not talk about the fancy clothes. They see it, but they will forever remember the experience they had, the wonderful conversation, and the bonds that were created on the table. And for me, that's my purpose in creating this table setting. And if you move on to the last slide, or the next slide rather, one of the slides here is actually a video. It's actually bringing you around the table. So you see, it will no longer be an irritant if a leaf falls from the tree, because instantly it will transform itself as part of the table setting. What you will experience is the freshness, the vibrance of the color. What I love about doing outdoor table settings is that you have an instant shell that kind of warms you, that kind of embraces you, that kind of sets the mood for freshness, for savoring what nature has to offer. Paired with the right choice of food and beverage, and of course company, that's very essential, creating wonderful experiences is not a task but a pleasure. And you know what's so memorable about this too is that we did not only enjoy the meal, we also created the meal. It's the bonding of the family. It's the people in the house that created the setup. It's my niece, it's my son, it's my brother, it's my father, it's my sister-in-law, that in the end, we all shared a wonderful meal together. A moment that will take us away from the worry of the pandemic. And for me, that moment is quite memorable.
Thank you so much for sharing, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you
Michael,
for all three speakers.
Where is the invitation, Michael?
What?
Where is the invitation?
My house is your house.
So we are invited already, I think, by default. Thank you.
I've been sending an open invitation. I've been wanting to cook for you guys. The moment you land here in the Philippines, go straight to my garden and I'll cook for you guys.
Thank you in advance so much, Michael. So what I'd like to hear from our speakers is that empathic design is scalable. From architect Jabeen to Mr. Lai to Mr. Michael, you can see from $1 million resort, a 5-star, world-class resort, to installation that has impact on the local, to the backyard that is very important to the family. Empathic design is scalable. Empathic design, what is important is all about people and environment being brought together. Environment includes not just man-made, but also nature and a natural environment as well. So that ties into our final question before we go into our Q&A. We started a little bit late, so a bit short on time. So I would like, we mentioned multiple times COVID-19 pandemic, not just that, but also many countries faces a lot of disasters this year. 2020 has been a rough year for many of us, especially people in general, right? So as designers, how do we keep ourselves ahead of the game, and how do we use our capacity as designers to make a difference? Architect Jabeen, back to you.
Thank you. Actually, if you had asked this question maybe like 6 months back, before this pandemic hit us, there would have been definite answers. Today, it's a time of uncertainties. We really don't know how we are going to move ahead. Already, these particular aspects of artificial intelligence and also genetic engineering, which were coming up with a lot of algorithms, modifying even our clients to some people who they themselves don't know. And the briefs which they are giving may not be the ones they really would want in heart. All those was kind of creating some problems for designers in understanding how to go ahead, not being robotic, but still being human and human-centric. These were the issues. But today, when this COVID pandemic has hit us, it also tells us that you can't be sure about anything. Today, we are at so much of a better position if you look at something which might come. Tomorrow, that virus is going to be airborne, or whether it is going to be waterborne. What would we do? Will homes be not safe? Will homes be transformed into something like a space suite? Or will we be walking around like astronauts? Where will the oxygen come from? What will we drink? All these questions, it can go to any extent. And I'm not being dramatic here. I'm just saying that we cannot actually predict what is in store. So as designers, what we need to do is be ready, because design has a lot of definitions. But one design definition which holds true for any moment of time is design is a change which we do to better an existing situation. So situations are going to come and we need to always find solutions. So I think designers are now going to be problem solvers, and it is not only the physical well-being. How will people react to this? Are they ready? No. So all the more reason to go with empathic designers more than anything. We are social animals. We are like, connected with each other. Even when we act indifferent, we are not really sensitive to so many things around. Deep inside, we are all connected. We are all a single race. How to be together when things go wrong. How to take care of ourselves, but also others. How can we stay connected? That's a big question. And here, we may have to look at very, very rapidly different definitions. For example, a home could be a car. A car could be redefined as a home, and a home could be redefined as a car. Because you can go there, you have your small space. Or as I told you, it could happen from a travel pack where you have to run. So the definitions of design is going to be constantly challenged, and we shouldn't lose heart. Always on our feet. Think on our feet and from our gut. and be ready. Be the creative person you are supposed to do. You be the creative person who can bring in intelligence, logic, that empathy, everything together, so that the world will still be a good place for all of us to live in. Thank you.
Thank you, Architect Jabeen. Next, I'd like to move to Mr. Lai, please.
Well, yeah, as architect Jabeen mentioned, there's a lot of uncertainty. We're not sure what's going to happen, and that every day is a little difference, and has its own challenges, right? Own sets of challenges. But the one thing that we should do is to control the way we use this moment, this time, which is very challenging time. And importantly is to stay focused and stay positive. I think we need to prepare this for the future. So I would like to propose or to suggest that we shall work efficiently and effectively with a special focus on the resources and the tips on how to be healthy and productive, being at home or working at home or from home. And in order to create a special spaces and environment that strike a healthy balance. So what I'm saying here is do a lot of research, research, studies, and try to figure out or find out the new work environment, play and rest, and to strike a balance, a healthy balance to that. And lastly, I'd like to end this session by saying, creativity behavior, or rather, I would like to encourage everyone on creative behavior, like critical thinking, like Architect Jabeen mentioned, problem-solving skill, empathy, and emotion intelligence, which it's a fundamental skills of tomorrow design community, and are traits that that make us intrinsically human. So I guess I would like to echo Architect Jabeen was mentioning, that is not everything are controlled by robots and whatnot, but what can we do to create design for ourselves that we are able to improve and connect each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lai. Mr. Michael, I'd like to pass you the floor.
It's always tough to be the last.
That's why you're the last.
Yeah. Okay. I entered the pandemic, or we entered the pandemic in a very surprising way. We were never prepared. We were never asked if we wanted this. And it literally put most of our lives, most of our dreams, most of what we wanted to happen to put on hold. What keeps us alive is the hope that one day we will wake up and this is over. The call right now maybe is to ask ourselves, what is the future asking of us? Albert Einstein once said, the best way to predict the future is to create it right now. This is what I say when I am asked to talk to students, especially for this competition. I believe the greatest gift of this pandemic is that you are chosen to co-create the future. You are chosen to co-create the future. It is in difficult times that the best of everyone will arise. It is in difficult times that going to introspection will bring out the best, the core, the essence of who we are deep inside. Let this competition be a platform for you guys to be challenged, for you guys to bring out the best in you, because that is your way of co-creating the future now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Now, before we go into the Q&A, I would like to prepare one last poll for our attendees. Like I mentioned, this is the first time AYDA is doing an international webinar, and we would really love to hear from you. What would you like to see more in the future exchange and conversation so that we can, you know, with all our efforts, we'll track down amazing speakers and experienced designers to share their journey and their stories with us. Now, let's address our Q&A. We have answered 6, we have 17 more. YouTube has 6 more, so there's 23 questions. It's impossible to answer everything. So let's try to answer top 3, shall we? And then the rest, perhaps I will speak to our speakers after this. Maybe I can get your ideas and your answers so that we can compile it and share it on our LinkedIn community with all our attendees, okay? I assume everyone will agree with my solution. If not, we'll be stuck here till midnight. All right, number 1, when you want to do a design project, how do you balance between your style and the local culture? I think that's what Amir is trying to ask. So the question is, when you want to design a project, your style is necessary to obey or culture is more important? So I think I would paraphrase it, style versus culture. Which one is more important and how do you strike a balance? Would anyone like to volunteer? Yes, Michael, thank you.
Okay. You see, I was pondering on a lot of things to prepare for this webinar, and one of the things that is recurring in my mind is, just like design, there's some sort of, I'm a big foodie, as you may have realized by now. It's almost sort of saying, if I will be asked to cook a certain dish amidst the landscape of a different country, what would that be? I cannot cook a dish that I'm not familiar, but I can make that dish be liked by other cultures by using what they have to offer. So I guess there is always a challenge between sticking with what you have versus being able to discover what can be. There will be a lot of choices.
Mm-hmm.
But if you again go back to the value and the essence of empathic design, it's really bringing forth what you want people to experience out of you. If you just let go of norms and rules, you'll be surprised how wonderful you can create new ideas and conquer new things after that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say it will never be a choice.
Mm-hmm.
It can always be both.
Understand. Thank you, Michael. My next question to the panel is, do you guys have any past projects or experience that have a specific target user, especially to the minorities, like people with autistic, people who are disabled, or people who are impaired? If you have experience of that, can you share? If not, then we can move on.
Can I just say I'm living with my son who is dyslexic.
Okay.
So it is always a challenge. It is always a challenge to drive him to read.
Mm-hmm.
And having said that, I knew right away that being a father to a child who has a very specific challenge in life will be a journey not of mine, but of his. To design something is to understand what he's capable of and what he's not capable of. it takes a lot of openness. It takes a lot of self-giving. It takes a lot of understanding. So in the end, there will be no hard line that say this is what is right or this is what is wrong. It is evolving as learning is progressive. Open heart, open mind, open result.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. I can share. I was involved in a project for an NGO, which is called Dialogue in the Dark. So it's a very interesting experience dealing with this this design installation. It's all about creating the awareness for people, goes into the whole total darkness experience without much guidance. So that was very powerful. I brought after we completed the project, I brought my whole studio to go through the whole experience. I brought my family, I brought all the friends that I know to really go through this total darkness and have a total different experience, how we're going to deal with our lives when we can't see it, right? So I would encourage if there is a dialogue in the dark near where you live or near your city, do drop by and experience it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lai. Architect Jabeen, would you like to add on?
Yeah, here, the nature of the building which I had to do for the impaired was not health impaired, but freedom impaired. So it's like a prison. There are healthy people who suffer from an impairment to their freedom. So that was an eye-opener because, even the shape of the rooms when you do, psychologists, they tell us it cannot be particular shape like octagon or too rounded because they can drive into them suicidal instincts. The windows cannot be at the top, extreme top, wherein they can try to hang themselves because these people, in spite of being completely healthy, are impaired in a different way. So I think that we have to actually engage with maximum empathy when we are doing this kind of designs. And of course, whenever we do all designs, nowadays it is like really, really important that we account for handicap. Earlier it was like we were not really fine with it, but everybody has only one life and we have to care for them irrespective of whether they are like challenged or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Architect Jabeen. So I think the next question is very relevant to the first question that Architect Jabeen answered earlier. Tohit mentioned he's a student from a country where there is a culture of dealing people who will never give you any extra chance to misuse the land. Means you must use everything that you have that's given. So in the result, more and more functional projects come first, which is based on the utility of the architecture or the space. So is there any scope of starting with a concept or emphasize on the aesthetical outcome of the project when you design, right? How do we balance between utility versus aesthetic, and how does it reflect back into empathic design?
Okay. So here I think, to be very brief, the student who I was, who started my journey and who I am today is, the definition for beauty has changed. Beauty is ultimately what is truth. So you can have this truth without any problem. One thing is we have to make truth as one of the things which would be appreciated by everybody, which is not the case in the society. So truthful designs which addresses needs and not greed is also very good design in all ways, including aesthetics. So the moment I redefined what is good aesthetics and based on truths, a lot of my problem was solved. But then here I also understand that heart of the land of cities and towns, what we are seeing is that you kind of block it. you guarantee it for the most spectacular of projects, for the museums, for the galleries, for gated communities, and you drive people away. Slums are not good to look at, so let these people go. You give them land at some remote area and then you leave it to them, or you give them simply boxes. But as creative people, we know that all these people together form the society. So now this consciousness that, even gated communities will have to be more empathetic. We have to care about from where our drivers come, from where our maids come, how much they travel, how close they are, how well taken care of they are. These things are coming in as part of our social consciousness and probably the empathic nature also. So I think that is going to be a good change. And definitely these things can also look beautiful, not like the beauty which we are talking about in other cases, but being truthful and relevant.
Thank you so much, Architect Jabeen. So to wrap up, I have one final question, something lighter. How much of empathic design element is too much? Is more or less is more? To three of you. Something light for us to end. Yeah. Michael or Mr. Lai, would you like to start first?
Oh,
yeah, Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead. Go ahead, my friend.
Go ahead.
Architect Lai, go ahead.
Who's going first?
Okay, I guess as I mentioned earlier, anything we do, we need to strike a balance, right? We have to balance and at the same time make the decision what's right and what is impactful to meet the purpose of the project. So it's very subjective, but we're going to feel good, right? We're going to feel good if this product are able to communicate with the end user. I think that's key. Yeah, I guess this is where we come from. To be from a creative point of view, we need to balance both, yet we want to create a design that is safe, is comfortable, and so forth, with all the positive values that I talk about, but yet we need to make it well, aesthetically pleasant at the same time. Over to you, Michael.
Oh, okay. Is there too much? There, maybe the word is not too much. Maybe the word is clarity. Clarity of intention results to clarity of action. And if you focus on the things that are essential, your inputs will definitely be not an overload, not a sensory overload, but rather just right. This is what I've realized. As I mature, or as designers mature, they kind of go through the practice of self-editing. So to say stop is to mean stop. It doesn't mean pause or maybe later on. To say stop is to say stop. Self-editing takes a lot of maturity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Architect Jabeen, do you have anything to add before we wrap up?
I think I can only say that, Gandhiji, I think Mahatma Gandhi once said, your freedom stops at the other person's nose. Okay, how much of freedom can you exercise? It has to stop at a point where, if at all, it kind of hurts somebody. So anything which hurting is not empathy also. So it's kind of having the right empathy and balancing it, because empathy cannot be for yourself, for somebody specifically. It's an all-round holistic philosophy which should be embracing everybody. So that's it.
Thank you so much, guys. So on behalf of our speakers, I would like to summarize today's learning. I think becoming a better person will reflect into becoming a better designer. I think that's the the essence of it. And it's also always be mindful and thoughtful, and in your best attempt, try to understand what the other person needs, to design with the end user in mind, to try to be in their shoes as best as possible, while thinking logically, while working within your capacity. That's definitely, because as we grow and have more experience, we have more persuasion power, we have more control over our design. But as young budding designers, within our capacity, within the little things that we do, how do we practice empathy in our design? So it's always about serving humanity and serving environment in the betterment of the living condition, or the space that we function in has a better condition for everyone. So your intention is very important at the very beginning. So with that, I will conclude today our very first international webinar. Once again, let's give a virtual hand clap to Architect Jabeen, Mr. Lai, Mr. Michael, for taking so much time and effort and go so deep and personal about their life stories. That caught me by surprise. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'd like to thank the organizing team at Red Tag and Nippon Paint offices around the world, our Asia Young Designer champions from around the world, and most importantly, those who have spent the past 2 hours with us. So do follow our LinkedIn community, Asia Young Designer Awards. There we will be publishing our content. The essence of today's discussion will be captured in a written format, in a written article format, so you guys can read this and have a good reference points as we go. Speakers, before we leave, I would love to have a virtual group photo with you. All you need to do is...
you'll never ask.
Yeah, I actually forgot. So now I need you guys to look at the camera and smile. Melody, are you ready? 1, 2, smile. All right, I assume they've gotten it. If not, we've got a recording. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Dear speakers will reach out to you to thank you again, and of course, to dig more information from you so that we can answer the remaining 20 over questions. If we are able to answer everything, we'll try to answer, because I think that is for the future generation, to help nurture our participants from 15 different countries all across where AYDA is. And thank you so much for everyone for your time. And we have one last video for you, and then you can log out after that. Thank you so much, everyone. And I will see you soon. Please take care.
Michael, thank you, Brandon.
Thank you,
everyone.
And please take care, everyone.
Thank you, AYDA, for having me.
Pleasure is ours.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.